Welcome in to the Roll Tide Rewind. We appreciate you joining us today, wherever and whenever you may be listening. We appreciate it. So, we're going to get into some football videos. With basketball, we're still kind of waiting on transfer portal news, but we're going to dive into some football real quick on a potential Alabama quarterback target, Elijah Haven. He's rumored to be committing on April 25th, which I'm filming this on March 29th, so about a little less than a month away. Elijah Haven is an Alabama quarterback target in the 2027 class, so he would be earliest he'd be on campus is potentially January of 2027 if he's an early enrollee. Let's talk about Elijah Haven. He is by far one of the best quarterback commits Alabama would ever get. At the Capstone, 247 has him as the number one quarterback, 5-star. The Rivals industry ranking, which gets 247, ESPN, and Rivals, and kind of combines the three. He's the number one quarterback. He's a 5-star, ESPN number one quarterback, 5-star. So what about Elijah Haven makes him so special? For one, he's 6'5", 200, almost 220 pounds. He's a freakish athlete, which we're gonna go over his film today. Is a big part of this video. Let's talk about his stats first. As a passer, he's also a runner, which Alabama quarterbacks in the past, besides Jalen Milroe and Jalen Hurts, Blake Sims, not many runners, but this guy is a guy that can go. 2022, he was actually, as an 8th grader, was the backup on the varsity team. He was backup to a quarterback that's a college quarterback, I think at Eastern Kentucky. So it's not like he was behind someone that would ever play ever again. 2023, he started his first year as a freshman, over 2,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Funny enough, the 35 touchdowns was a school record. And then you see what he did the next year, 3,093, 37 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, stepped up and beat the school record. Then in 2025, he went off, 62 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So almost 10,000 passing yards, over 130 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, 68% completion percentage. That's a great touchdown interception ratio, an outstanding one, in fact. 62 touchdowns is the Louisiana state record. And then we'll go into his next stats, are the rushing stats. So again, back up as an 8th grader, but you look at those rushing stats, over 600 yards, 900 yards, almost 800 yards, 12 touchdowns, 21 touchdowns is incredible, and 11 touchdowns. So in his junior year, broke the state record for passing touchdowns in a season and broke the state record for total touchdowns in a season, because add that 11 makes it 73 total touchdowns. They've won, I believe, 2 straight state titles. But 6 yards per attempt as a quarterback is really impressive, because if you're counting in sacks as well. But yeah, he's a guy that's just an elite superstar level athlete. He's an Elite 11 finalist. He'll be going there this summer. 6'5", like I said, pushing 220. He's still growing as a passer. He still has a lot of things to work on, but you can see, which we'll dive into his film in just a second, what he is truly made of as a player. I believe this is the last slide I have before we go into the film, and it is. Okay, so this is, I believe, their state title game this past year. Dunham is the school that he goes to. You see his tall stature here, 6'5", 215. We'll see on this play, stands in the pocket and throws it dart across the middle of the field. So you can see the ultra level release on that football, and then the precision to get it right to the receiver. But watch that throw. That's like a guy that's playing college for multiple years doing that throw. So if him doing that throw, a throw like that already, very positive thing to see. You'll see where he stands out a lot as a quarterback. Like on this play right here, a quarterback power. Finds the hole, and look how quick he is to get to the end zone for a touchdown. Doesn't even have to use too much power there. But he's so quick at 6'5". He moves so fast. And you can even see, like I said, in the backfield, how tall he is. Look how much he just towers over that running back. Running backs obviously aren't going to be 6'5", but it's a great thing to see a quarterback that tall and being able to move that quick. And you can use him a lot in the goal line too. Reminds me a lot of, I know Alabama fans won't like this, Cam Newton at Auburn. Whenever they got to the goal line, it was just let Cam run it in for a touchdown. I feel like Elijah Haven is that same type of athlete. I'm not comparing him to Cam Newton just yet. You see here the goal line, because a lot of times in some of his throws, you can tell he has a cannon of an arm. and you kind of don't want him to be overthrowing receivers, but it's nice to see him throw one 15 yards in the back of the end zone to his receiver for a touchdown, and also throws it at a high point so the receiver can be the only one to get it. I think I have a replay on this one in just a second as we see the crowd celebrating. It'd be nice to go to a school where you have a quarterback that's a 5-star. But just look at that throw. He gets to the high point for the receiver. But I could watch that all day. Like I said, that release is like you've been in college for a little while, and he's still got one more year of high school. We'll go into the next film of Elijah Haven. Got a deep pass, right? Well, not a deep pass, just a good little screen post, but he hits it right on the money to this receiver, and he's able to break free and go all the way for a touchdown. So reminds me a lot of, I hate to compare him to multiple good quarterbacks in a video, but Cam Newton athleticism, it seems, but also on some of these throws, he has like Tua level precision because he's hitting that receiver in stride, hitting that receiver where he only can make the play. Corner doesn't have a chance, and then he's gone. Receiver doesn't have to break a stride. So those are the type of throws you love to see. You also like to see throws like this to the corner on the other side. Not throwing it to the opposite side of the field, but throwing it into a spot where his receiver is like the only one that can make a play. Throws it over the shoulder. Corner has no chance. Corner's in good coverage too. This is not bad coverage at all by this corner. And he just gets it right over the shoulder. And same kind of throw here to the same receiver. Now, corner doesn't have as good of coverage on this play, but he gets it to the point where the corner doesn't have a chance to make a play, and his receiver is able to come down with a touchdown. So, like I said, it's good when these quarterbacks that have cannons are good in red zone, because a lot of times you'll notice that they'll be overthrowing a lot in the red zone, doing more errant passes. So it's good to see that he's doing elite level stuff in the red zone. You can see when you watch this film as a freshman, sophomore to a junior, he's grown that much as a passer. So we'll see here on this play another deep pass, and receivers open, but it's an encouraging thing to see that he's hitting him in stride. So a lot of times in high school, you'll see a lot of these throws where the receiver is wide open. Quarterback doesn't have to make a great throw, but that receiver never has to break any stride on this throw. So it's a great thing to see. A lot of great things in this film, but it's especially great when your deep ball is very accurate, especially at that age too. Like you have a deep ball, but is it getting from point A to point B the way that you want it to? For Elijah Haven, it seems like second nature. And then another high-level precision pass to the receiver, doesn't have to break any stride, and it's just gone for a touchdown, because you're going to have receivers that are going to be so fast that they're going to beat the slant route, but depending on how the throw is, are they stopping to catch the ball? Are they reaching behind them to catch the ball, which could force a tip into the air for an interception? Or are they not breaking any stride at all, and they're gunning and going like this receiver is? So another excellent thing to see. And you see here on this play, he's able to show off how big he is to get 4, but it's a 4th and 1 call. So this is another level where Elijah Haven is different than a lot of quarterbacks, is because when he's in the game, you have realistically 3 options: throw the ball, run the ball of the running back, or run the ball of Elijah Haven. A lot of times in Alabama's offense last year, when we were not running well, whenever it was 4th and 1, I honestly just assumed we were going to pass the ball, because that was the only chance that I think Alabama ever had of completing a 4th and 1. I never was confident that we were going to run the ball for a first down. With Elijah Haven, you add another element to the game. And offensive line does a good job getting a push there, but as you see, they just need 1 yard, and he gets almost 10. Gets actually over 10, I think. So another element of the game for Elijah Haven. And we'll see here one of the red zone plays, but beautiful throw to the opposite side of the field, puts it into place where his receiver is going to be the only one to get it. Corner doesn't really have a chance. And a lot of these throws, you're seeing that the corners, even in good coverage, they never really have a chance of getting this football. So just another elite level, superstar level play from Elijah Haven. And even you see right there, I wanted to highlight this throw. That receiver is open from the get-go, and Elijah Haven recognizes it, and he targets it immediately, and it's a throw on the money. Receiver's able to make a play and get more yardage downfield. But it's a good thing to see he recognizes the defense very, very well, of the defense making a mistake, because you can see the corner at the top. He's pointing because he knows there's a mistake. You see the safety here freaking out, and they're trying to get over there as fast as they can. Elijah Haven recognizes it, and he takes advantage of it really quickly. So it's nice to see, obviously, good athlete, but how intelligent are you to play the game of quarterback? Because all these guys are very intelligent, but is that next level intelligence there? Because even though Ty Simpson was rocky at times last year, I think due to injuries, he was a very smart guy. Like, he knew how to diagnose the field. So it's good to see Elijah Haven being able to recognize even the little things that causes you to go from, a 1st and 10 at the 42 to now you have a 1st and 10 close to the red zone because his receiver's good enough to make a play. So 4th and 13, obviously, and this was in college, you're probably kicking a field goal here, but in high school, not going to have many kickers that are going to accurately kick it from that far, so you're going to go for it. But it's nice to see him in a higher pressure situation, even though they are up 28-0 on 4th and 13. But this is a good play the first time we really see him in the film step up into the pocket, recognizes the pressure, and he's not a run-first guy. You saw in the stats, we'll go into it at the end, but he had a lot of rushing touchdowns and a lot of rushing yards his sophomore year. His junior year, he had a little bit less, is because he was a pass-first guy. And this is a player here where you see that. He doesn't get fooled by this pass rush, steps into the pocket, makes a beautiful throw. Because if he runs the ball here, technically he does have a chance to get to get 13 yards. This linebacker is spying him, and I would probably trust Elijah Haven to get by the linebacker. But I mean, especially that linebacker, not like an SEC linebacker, but steps into the pocket and receivers open, but ball hits him right in the money. But this is why stepping in the pocket matters, is because they will get lost in coverage the longer they are in coverage. So nice to see that in this film too, as pressure breaks down. He does not lose calm. He steps in the pocket, makes a good throw. This throw is another highly precision throw, hits the slant, very precise. And again, another throw where the receiver is going to be the one that's making the play, not anybody else. So I have to tip your cap to some throws like that. This is a high pressure situation. They're down by 7 points. 2nd and 4, 4th quarter. And it looks like there's not much time on the clock. And that might be his best throw that we've seen in this film. I forgot not throwing this in there. But he rolls it to the right, runs right into a blitz, stands his ground. That is an Elite 11 throw. That is what would win you an Elite 11, is a throw like that. So the receiver here looks like he's starting by running an out. As Elijah Haven has to get out of the pocket, he cuts up field. And then Elijah Haven, as soon as he sees he cuts up, he's throwing the ball right here. The corner is in good position. Corner stays in good position, but sometimes you just can't beat perfect. That's the best way I can describe that throw. You can't beat perfect. And when I talked about Elijah Haven, he's a really good athlete. He's also a pretty good basketball player. So that kind of will show you here. You can see him dunking the ball. I know I'm showing basketball film in a football video, but it showcases that he's a good athlete. He's a pretty good basketball player for his school, getting on the all county teams. But it's nice to see guys playing multiple sports. But yeah, it's a good athlete. But yeah, I was going to show you the rushing stats again. So you see that as 2024, you see it peaked up a little bit, and then it kind of dropped down. It's not a drop down because of him just not being better at running the football. He's just becoming more of a pass-first guy. So not a bad thing to see at all. So let's look at Alabama's quarterback room potentially for 2027. So I'm going to say a little disclaimer here. At the top, you have Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. I only believe one of those guys will be here in 2027. I just put them down because they're on the roster right now, so it will carry over. But one of those guys will be here. The other guy will not. I truly believe that, because if Keelan Russell gets the start this year, Austin Mack will transfer for his last season. If Austin Mack gets the start, and then you have two options. He does really well, goes to the NFL draft. Then Keelan Russell is there waiting to get the job, or Austin Mack comes back for a redshirt senior year. Then Keelan Russell leaves to go play football. So disclaimer, it's going to be one of those guys. The bottom two, or the two after them, Jet Tamala, redshirt. He'll either be a redshirt freshman or a sophomore. I'm going to lean that he'll be a redshirt freshman. He's a great quarterback in this class. He was one of the highly ranked quarterbacks in the class. Taden Kawa will be a redshirt freshman. He came from I think California or Hawaii. It was one of the two. But he's also similar build to Elijah Haven, like almost 6'5", over 220 something pounds. And then you have Trent Seaborn, who will be coming in the same class of Elijah Haven if he were to commit to Alabama. Trent Seaborn is already committed. He's a homegrown guy. He's been starting at Thompson High School since 8th grade. He's been a starter in high school, about to be for his 5th year, which is crazy. He didn't start at the beginning of his 8th grade year, but he started near the playoffs. But it's a crowded quarterback room for Elijah Haven. I don't believe he would start in his first year. I believe it's going to be Keelan Russell or Austin Mack. But in terms of potential, I think he's the guy. If he were to come to Alabama, I think in his second year, he would probably be the starter. Jet Tamala, Taden Kawa maybe can impress me and flip that switch. But Elijah Haven is he's an ultra level athlete. He's a superstar waiting to happen. But rumor is he's going to commit on April 25th, so just a little less than a month away. He's rumored to be deciding between Alabama, Auburn, Florida, and then Georgia. Those are the 4 schools that are notable in his recruitment. He's eyeing April the 25th potential commitment date. He's supposed to visit Alabama for Alabama spring game, A-Day, on April 19th, I believe is the Saturday that Alabama has the A-Day. So something to watch out for, because maybe he commits early, goes to A-Day, and things change, and he is bought into Alabama, or something else. So waits April 25th and makes his decision then. But I like where Alabama stands in this recruitment. I think this would be the by far the best player we would get in this recruiting class, if so. And it would be, I think he has the potential to be a superstar in college, like a Heisman level player. So leave your thoughts in the comment section on what you think about Elijah Haven, and do you think he will be wearing crimson red at this time next year in spring practice, or if you think that he will go somewhere else. But until then, I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and roll Tide.